All right, guys. Good to talk with you. Kind of crazy. This is the last set of notes for this semester. We've done all the invertebrates, and after this, we'll have done all the vertebrates. Next week, you'll have your final, quiz or test, what you want to call it. On the vertebrates, it'll look a little bit different because it'll be on Canvas. But it's been a crazy semester, but you guys have done a good job, and we're almost done. Also, Kai is in the background here. He needs to go to sleep, but he does not want to. So if you hear him, that's him not sleeping. So starting off with mammals, there are 3 groups: monotremes, marsupials, and placentals. Sometimes the placentals are called eutherians. I've honestly never heard them called that, but now you know if you do see it or if you do go further and study and see that, that's what that is. So 3 main groups. I would say placentals are probably the biggest group. However, there are 3 distinct groups. All right, some things that they've got. They either have hair or fur. Hair and fur, it's not quite the same thing. I don't totally know all the differences, but they have one or the other. Gives them insulation, right? Keeps them warm, especially in climates, where it's colder. So not California right now, but up in the Arctic. Sensory, so whiskers, vibrissae, attached to nerve cells. So like a cat has whiskers. I've heard that a cat will only enter as big of an opening as its whiskers can sense on the outside. So I heard that some people who are really mean have cut a cat's whiskers, and then the cat doesn't know how wide it is and it gets stuck in things. So it's an interesting scientific fact, but not very nice to do to cats. Protective coloring or signaling, and then they also have claws or nails or hooves, some kind of, protection or hard covering on the ends of their limbs. And then also like protective coloring or signaling, we'll say that goes into hairstyles and such too. I'm lumping the humans in with the mammals. Obviously, humans are different. Humans are made in God's image, all of that stuff. But for the sake of science, for the sake of study, they share characteristics of mammals. So we have all these characteristics. All right, they have internal fertilization. All right, the female does not just lay an egg. The male does not just come and fertilize it. They have to actually mate. Okay, so internal fertilization. Generally, they do not lay eggs. The females nurse the young, so there's a degree of care here. Birds would bring their young food. They build a nest for them. But mammals, it goes even further. They feed them the first few months, first few years. They teach them how to hunt. They teach them how to do things. They protect them. They show them things. Pretty much all of them give live birth. The monotremes, that's the weird group here, they lay eggs. So platypus, echidna, they lay eggs. They're a weird group. They're the exception. They lay eggs. And then, like I said to you, high degree of parental care. Think how long our parents take care of us. Goodness sakes, it's a long time. So they're definitely much more complex and much more parental care, much more parental involvement. They have more complex brains. The brains have a lot more surface area. Here in the brain, it has all those folds and wrinkles that increases the surface area. We all know people who don't use their brains as much, but we do have complex brains. Abilities to use tools, olfaction or smelling, and hearing are important. Something kind of interesting though, color vision is less important and less developed. So in some animals, it's a huge thing, the color, and like bugs can see the UV and stuff to find the flowers, but it's not as important for mammals. But smelling, hearing is definitely very useful and very highly developed. All right, to breathe, to get oxygen, to get rid of the carbon dioxide, they all use lungs, okay? Even the mammals that live underwater, dolphins, whales, they still have to come up periodically to get air. Sometimes they can last a really, really long time, but they still need to come up to get air. All right, this is why, you go whale watching, you wait for the whale, you wait for the spout. Okay, that's the whale coming up for air. They use a diaphragm. So the diaphragm, you can see it in dissections, but it's not as pronounced just because whatever you're dissecting is dead, so it's not really in use. This muscle, by going up and down, it changes the pressure in the lungs. So it forces air in and out by using that. So it's not just that they have lungs, they also have the diaphragm. All right, I think I convinced Kai to fall asleep. We'll see. All right, temperature regulation. I love this picture. I just saw this on the Travel Channel the other day. The monkeys up in the hot springs. But they are endotherms, so they can maintain a stable internal temperature. Oh, now Kai's just kind of making noise. Sometimes they shiver, sometimes they sweat, either to generate heat or to cool off. Sweating is a cooling process. So they have adaptations to help them maintain that temperature as well. Or, they go to the hot springs and chill out like these guys do. All right, circulatory system. Their hearts have 4 chambers. The maternal and fetal blood are exchanged across the placenta. So when the baby is inside the mother, they don't actually exchange blood. The blood exchanges the gases and the nutrients through the placenta. I'm not going to get super into it, to be honest. I don't totally understand it all, but it's not just like one big circulatory system. And then that's how the embryo receives oxygen from the mother. So it's very important that they take care of the baby inside and that the placenta exchanges the gases to keep the baby alive. All right, so going on with the body systems here. We've talked about excretion, talked about whether they have a bladder or how they get rid of their waste. Mammals generally, they excrete urea. Pretty much, to put this in simple terms, mammals pee. So they have a urinary bladder. This is a major loss of water. So some animals have adapted, like camels, like they don't pee as often, or, there are some degrees here, but generally they have a bladder. It holds liquids. They get rid of those liquids. Sometimes they have the pheromones in the urine. So, dogs and cats, they either pee all over the place, dogs do, to mark their territory, or like cats can spray. That's all part of that system and can go into that system. All right, kind of going into the groups here. Monotremes. They give birth to leathery shell eggs. Now, they would still have to have internal fertilization. These are leathery shelled eggs. They don't lay eggs and then wait for them to be fertilized. But they do lay eggs. So platypus, echidna. And for whatever reason, too, they don't have teeth. I don't know if that's a correlation or if that's just 2 characteristics they have. But leathery shelled eggs and no teeth. All right, marsupials. They give birth to extremely premature young. And then the young crawls I'm thinking a kangaroo crawls up into the pouch, attaches on, and then it nurses and keeps growing. I want to say a baby kangaroo, when it's actually first born, is about the size of your pinky. So this teeny tiny little baby is born, makes its way up into the pouch, latches on, and then it continues to grow. So it's kind of crazy to me that they can do that and they have the instinct to do that. It's pretty cool. And then koalas, possums, all of those are also marsupials. So they also climb in the pouch and then they attach on and then they keep growing. You ready? I'm going to tell you guys a joke. Why do kangaroos not like rainy days? Because the kids have to play inside. Okay, I miss you guys. So here's the picture. So we have mama kangaroo and then the baby kangaroo, the joey. It's pretty big, but like I said, it's about the size of your pinky. So that's how big it is when it's first born, and it's very, very not kangaroo looking. All right, placentals. As the name suggests, they have a placenta. Not the city in California, not Placentia. Placenta. This is where the gases can be exchanged, gases and nutrients for the baby. The young are more highly developed, much more complex, and generally they're probably inside the mother growing a lot longer. Like humans, it's about 9 months. Not necessarily, it depends on the type of animal. I know like mice and rabbits, it's much shorter. Elephants, I want to say it's 20 months. But the young are born pretty complex, but they generally need care. They need to nurse. They need to drink from the mammary glands, mammals, mammary, mama. They're not just ready to go adults once they're born. All right, so that's the end of the notes. You guys have survived zoology, at least the note part of it. I will post probably one more dissection, and then next week we'll be doing some reviewing and then have that final quiz. So have a great day, and I will talk to you later.